Okay, this is where we will begin, and this is really nothing new. You just haven't applied what we've wrote down later. And before I started this video, we know that we're talking about the animal kingdom. It's animals that have a vertebral column, because for those of you who go on to take zoology, okay, you wouldn't have only mammals underneath here. You would have aves or birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish, okay, along with the mammals as well. So you'd have 5 different classes under here instead of just one. And then that diverges even further to different orders of birds, different orders of reptiles, even different families of snakes, that it just gets to be a little more complex with every step that you go in this science curriculum, okay? So with everything that we've seen, these are just blank boxes that we would like you to be able to fill in. That O means order, CH, way to abbreviate characteristic, and then A is for the animal, okay? So if we were to look at these, is there any one of these that you would like to start out, and we'll fill that out right now. Just go ahead and pick any one of these boxes, or just go in order. I don't care which. Okay? So who is a mammal that has, well, here's your, this is the lesser one of these, an echidna, but also a duck-billed platypus is also in the same order, okay? And the reason for that is those are the only mammals that still do this. And it is something that you do have wrote down, okay? It's the only animals, they don't give birth to live young. They're not attached to an umbilical cord like placentals. What's that? Nope, those are birds. Monotremes or monotremata, that is the order, okay? So monotremes. What's significant about these besides having webbed feet? Probably something about their fur, because they spend time in water. Okay, so you got waterproof fur. There is an R in there. Then probably the most important characteristic is, again, it's the only mammals that do this. Yeah, they still lay eggs. Egg layers or lay eggs, whichever one you're more comfortable with putting into there. Okay. Then if we're going to go in order, which is fine. Okay. Who is an order of mammals that give birth to live, immature young? Okay, these are marsupials. Okay, what's a characteristic, another characteristic of these? Where do these live young develop? Okay, develop in a pouch. Okay, what else might be significant about these marsupials? And maybe we didn't give that many characteristics. There's only 2 characteristics. Okay, so we can scratch that one off. So what's an example of a marsupial? 3. The kangaroo's one. And I don't know how to spell koala. I think there's a Q, so I'll leave that up to you. And then opossums. Okay. Oh, it's not Q, it's K? Koala? Okay, so there we go. That's why I'm not doing it. Okay. So the order Insectivora. It's pretty safe to say that, can you put this characteristic over here? Do insectivorans feed on insects? Yeah, because that's how they get their name. That's right. So that's certainly a characteristic. Some of these do overlap, and it's fine to put that in there. And that's significant because you said pointed snout. That's certainly, nature had selected them animals to have a pointed snout because, for instance, you young men and women driving down the road in your vehicle, the profile of your vehicle isn't a big box, is it? It's not very, very aerodynamic, is it? So think of trying to push a box through the soil. Wouldn't be very easy to do. But if that nose is pointed, it's a lot easier to shove something sharp through the soil as opposed to, again, something that's square. Okay? So what you had said, was that pointed snout? Okay, so pointed snout. Okay, and high metabolic rate. Metabolic rate. Okay, so what's an example of an animal that is an insectivorous? Yeah, moles. Another one starts with an S. Shrews, moles, either one. Okay, with where we're at now, how does this seem to be going through this content now? Maybe it was a little overwhelming before we started, but now that we're this far, does this seem as overwhelming as before we started? A little bit, okay, and that's fine. Okay. Okay, so who would have a long, sticky tongue that also feeds on insects? You can give a characteristic or you can give that order. Say that again. Xanthara, I think that's what we're trying to say with an X. Okay. And then what is a characteristic? Okay, they lack teeth. And there's another one that you could throw in there too. Yes, unique lumbar vertebrae. And if you wanted to put lack teeth up there, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so what's an example of that animal? Oops. Yeah, I think I need an M. Yeah. I think that's right. Okay. So then we had gone on a little further because I remember talking about primates for one, bats for another. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get this rolling now. What can you tell me about primates? What about their eyes, for instance? They're facing forward, which gives them what type of vision then? They have binocular vision. I think we actually left off with rabbits, correct? Okay. Okay, so I think I got it on the primates right now. Okay, so just like you said, forward-facing eyes. Okay, one of the things, they can grasp things for branches, trees, anything to that nature. Okay, so a large cortex, what does that say about their brain? It's big, fairly complex. Okay. What does this say about their diet then, omnivores? Yeah, both plant eaters and meat eaters. And then you say apes, chimps, anything to that effect is an example of a primate. than your rabbits. Okay. Do they reproduce fairly quickly? Yes or no? Yeah, very prolific means it's very easy for them to reproduce and produce a lot. Okay? So double row of incisors. What does that tell you about their diet if this was not on here? Incisors means what? No, those are molars. Yeah, it's used for cutting, like a scissors. That's right. Okay? Okay. And these are even more prolific than that of the rabbits. Okay? If you have a rodent problem, of course, it's probably not going to go away unless you address it. It's just not going to get any better. Especially, it doesn't even have to be in the house. It can be out in your pasture as well. So which one of these? Actually, it's all three of these you could find out in your pasture. But typically when we say that, we're talking about animals that go grazing, which of course cattle, horses do that. You don't want them to step into a what? A gopher hole. Okay? So these are certainly rodents then as well. Let's see here. We are and our next one, I'm going to speculate, is it elephants? Nope. Cetacea. Okay? These are your aquatic animals. Okay? Now, are they the only animals that use echolocation? No. Is there another mammal that does? Yeah, bats do. Okay? But they're in a different order because how would their diet be different if they're both using echolocation? Bats use it for navigating as well, but for eating what? Insects, that's right. Where these animals aren't going to eat any aquatic insects, but use that echolocation then. What would this structure be for here? Not only just feeding, that's true. Also respiration as well. That's right. Okay? Because as they take in all this water, okay, then they shoot it out through the top. Okay? And then I do believe one of your vocab terms is baleen. Okay? And baleen are a specialized form of teeth. They filter, that's right. Okay? So not all of these would have that in there, but it certainly is present because some of these aquatic mammals filter their food. Now, broad flat tails. Does that mean broad flat tails like this or like that? Yeah. The tail goes up and down. It doesn't go side to side. Fish do this. Mammals do that. What type of diet are we looking at here? True. So what does that mean if they eat fish? Yeah, they're carnivores. That's right. Okay? That is correct. let's see here. I want to know how many vocab terms did you have problems trying to define or find? About 4. Okay? Does anyone have less than 4? If they're not in the glossary, I'll bet they're in the chapter. Okay. All right. That's one way you can help yourself out. Okay. So, what do we got this? Okay. This is telling you what their diet is. If it's carnivora, chances are they're probably eating what? That's right. Okay, let's see what's what we got left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are winding down fairly quickly. Let's see here. Are we totally, let's see here, just a moment. So here's what we're going to do for the rest of the time. I want to wrap up this one and then that one. Okay? Then tomorrow, your vocab is still due tomorrow. Okay? We're not pushing that back. We'll go ahead and have your vocabulary evaluation on Thursday. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay? So, in writing this down, this is going to help you out in the long run if we're choosing to do so. And for those of you going back to the Science Channel and taking a look at this. So, one more, then we'll go over any vocab terms that you want a little clarification on, and then that will be it for today. Okay. So, why would these animals have a streamlined body? So do orca or killer whales, so do dolphins. But why is this an advantage to have a streamlined body in the water? Because it says sea carnivores. Think about what are they preying upon? Possibly river otters, sea lions, what would they be preying upon? Fish. Okay. Well, do killer whales prey upon fish? Well, they might, but their main diet is possibly what? Now, orca and killer whales. their main diet would possibly be what instead? Okay? Yeah, feed on sea lions, where you might not have to be quite as fast, but with them, the population where they congregate is going to be much, much higher. Okay? So, being fast is going to be an advantage to catch fish. Okay? Limbs adapted as flippers, that would give them, of course, more speed. And then, of course, they are your sea carnivores. So, there was just a couple of questions about the vocab terms. Rumen, first chamber of stomach in mammals, they're called the ruminants. Ovoviviparous, females that lay eggs just like viviparity or viviviparous. These females lay the eggs as well, but these develop inside the body, and then these develop outside the body. You might be wondering why you would include this, but throughout the course of the animal kingdom, okay, there are certain animals that do both of these. Okay, these would be, which one of them is your echidna and your duck-billed platypus? Do those eggs develop inside their body or outside? It's outside when they lay the eggs. Okay, that's right. Okay, that's all I have. We'll catch up to you next time. Vocabulary still due tomorrow. We'll have your vocabulary evaluation on Thursday.